Welcome to Dad Talk. Dad Talk is an unscripted conversation between real dads discussing things that affect a dad and his family. Today's episode is family budget and spending and back to school. Let's meet today's dads.
I'm Chad, and I have 2 kids and 1 on the way.
I'm Anthony, and I've got 2 kids.
My name is Jonathan, and I have 6 children.
All right, so the first topic is the family budget and spending. Does your family have a budget, and do you follow it? Mine does, and for us, we have to have it because I'm the only one that works. My wife stays at home with the kids, so we're a little bit limited on our funds. So, and I'm very mathematical, so we have it budgeted out. What goes to where and what goes to how, and how much allowance can everybody get, and stuff like that. And do we follow it? Depends on what month I guess we're on, or no. It just all depends. I mean, like recently, my truck tires decided to go flat on me, and so now I'm looking towards tires. So my budget's going to be adjusted, and different things like that. You just have to have what I like is the miscellaneous spot right there that just kind of piles up, and then when you need it, you take it, and then just kind of move stuff around to be able to get different things. And when I want a new racquetball racket, I might just adjust it a little bit more. But I think a budget is good though, because because I have been in the situation where I'm making money, there's money in the account, I'm gonna just buy some randomness, and all of a sudden the end of the month comes around, it's like, holy crap, I've got a mortgage payment coming up tomorrow. And we might be in trouble. But that was more when I was single and on my own. But since I've had the family, it's like I had to change my ways. Like, okay, I've got to have it budgeted. I've got to know how much I'm spending. Where is it going? Stuff like that. So for me, a budget is very needed, because otherwise I'd be back to my single style of dropping a bill at the bar every night, and then all of a sudden I've got bills the next day, and it just doesn't work out very well for me. Yeah.
Well, I same kind of thing back when I was single, except I wasn't making a whole lot of money, but I was spending it like I had a whole lot of money, and I got far into debt. Mm-hmm. I mean, the type where you don't even look at the bills because you can't pay them, and you just pay enough to keep them from calling you. And I lived like that for a long time. It was actually until I met my wife, and she was the exact opposite. She was very methodical about this cost that. She doesn't go shopping. She doesn't spend money. She's never been into debt, and she already had a daughter when I met her, and she was still supporting her and saved up a lot of money to buy a car outright, all this kind of stuff. And she's never borrowed money from anybody. And so we kind of got together, and she got me on her side of the plan. We like you said, we have a definite budget where this is all the money, this goes here and here, and whatever's left over, we might get to play with. But if my wife gets to say so, it gets to go in the bank. Because we have what we call the emergency fund for things like when your tire goes out or the AC goes out. It's every $3,000. Okay, there it is, emergency handled. Mm-hmm. And there's not this, oh God, what are we going to do? It's taken care of, and then you slowly just fill that back up. Mm-hmm. And it's so much better than the thank God it's Friday, oh God it's Monday. Yeah. Here it comes, there it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, I've got same story as you guys. But the concept of budgeting never really was an issue for me until probably until the third kid. For whatever reason, we just did well, and living from paycheck to paycheck just didn't seem all that scary to us. But then whenever the third child came around, then and some life changes happened, and things got a little bit tougher, and I know how people can live without a budget because I've done it.
We've done it.
Yeah. I've done it. Been there, done that. But life is a whole lot different whenever you do begin to give your money a job to do. And that's kind of the way that Michelle and I look at it. is that whenever we sit down together and we put our budget together, it's okay. Every dollar that we bring into our household now has a job to do. Just like, guess what? All of our kids have a job to do too.
Yeah.
So I've got a job. Michelle's got a job. The kids have a job. The rabbits have a job. But everything in its place, and everything has a name and knows where to go. There's always, like, and we've begun to develop an emergency fund, like you've talked about, and it's a whole lot better, or a whole lot easier to go to bed at night whenever those emergencies do happen, and oh my God, here's $3,000 that we've got to drop on something. It doesn't feel all that great at whenever you have to write that check, or whenever you have to deliver that bill, but it sure seems a lot easier to sleep at night once you've written that check or whatnot. Then okay, what are we gonna do? So I mean, it's been a really, really good source of peace for us at times. At the same time, the budget can be a source of conflict as well. Part of our conversation here is going back to school. Well, things change through the years through the year as different things come up. Going back to school is a big deal in our household because my wife is a teacher. Well, we've been able to play a little bit during the summer. She's got some vacation. Got some time off that we can go and do a lot of fun things. Well, getting back to school is kind of a traumatic event for us. But knowing that suddenly our expenses are changing. And so we're gonna have to spend. We're not gonna be spending as much money on lunches as we have been as as a family here or there, or whatever the different scenario is. Getting down there and working on the budget can be kind of a source of conflict between us sometimes because things change.
Well, it's a statistical thing that I've heard many times is the number one cause for divorce is money.
Yeah.
It's people fighting over, you spent this and I didn't want that, and this kind of thing. But if you can get on the same page. Luckily, my wife, she had the right idea, and I was the unreasonable one. And once I saw the light, it was just, I couldn't believe I've been so stupid, And once you get into that groove and you build like your emergency fund, there's something to save, like say, for peace of mind.
Yeah.
I know I am okay. Like, we were doing well probably 6 months ago. I was in a good job. I was making plenty of money, and out of the blue, I got laid off. And I was the main source of income. Probably 75% of our income came from me, and it evaporated. If we didn't have that emergency fund set aside, I don't know what we would have done. But it was, of course, you lose your job all of a sudden and you're going to be stressed, but we're okay. I've got 4, 5, 6 months worth of expenses.
Yeah.
We don't have to stress, we don't have to go crazy and start selling everything. It's
Dick and Jane.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, how much can we get for the kids? We were okay. And luckily I did find a job rather quickly, but it was nice just being able, you could sleep. You weren't just sitting at night. How am I going to feed the kids? How am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I, no, I got it covered. It's okay.
Yeah. And I can imagine that you're probably in a scenario where, maybe you didn't have to take the very first thing that came up. You didn't have to go and start flipping burgers
or delivering papers or something. That's right.
Instead you at least had a little bit of leeway.
I could be a little bit picky. I actually took a week there where I got a lot of things done around the house and saved money, because it was like, well, we're gonna have to pay somebody to come fix this, because I never had time. Well, nope. I actually got to do all of that stuff. And then while I was looking for a job, and then one came up, and it was only about a week and a half. But I mean, my wife is a worrier, but it was okay. I had to keep, we're okay. That peace of mind is you can't put a price on it, but having the money in the bank helps.
It sure does.
Yeah. So actually, going off of what you were saying about with the spouse, it's important to communicate with your spouse about your budget and what the household income gets spent on. That's actually very important, because when you have two different mindsets going, it's like one thinks you need one thinks you need the other thing, and that can be a very big conflict, lead to divorce easily. But I think as long as y'all kind of keep it together and just try to make sure y'all are buying what you need and not just what each person wants, I guess would be.
That's the key, is defining need. Because some people need a new pair of shoes, or I need this new phone. It's like, no, you don't. That's a want. I even had to admit that a lot to myself, because I'm Mr. Techie, and I want the new phone and the new tablet and the new computer, and it's not. You don't need that stuff.
Right.
This still works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't need that. That's a total want. And that's Oops.
Phone got flushed down the toilet. I need a new one.
Yeah, that was my experience recently. I've been wanting a new phone for several weeks, and it was just fortunate that my son started to drown in the swimming pool, and I had to jump in after him. And a couple $100 later, I ended up with a much nicer phone. But yeah, I mean I'm the same way where defining what is a need and what is a want is probably just as important as being able to put together a budget as as a couple, as a married couple. And I think it's really important that everybody gets a buy-in on it as well. I'm the one that puts the budget together in our household, and whether I do a good job of it or not really actually depends on whenever I print it out and say, here, what do you think?
And then she starts making corrections.
And she makes the corrections, and things, things actually get put back into a position where they're reasonable. Because again, I mean, we all have this I want mentality. I think as a society, it's easy for us to get into this. Well, I want type scenario. I can't live without it.
Say, what are you, 4?
Yes.
You're talking to Daddy, I want that. You don't need that.
You don't need that. Daddy needs this.
But yeah, having that give and take, I think is just as important as actually having a budget and actually putting the implementing the budget and actually putting it into play.
Right. Well, like me and my wife we don't have a literal written, this is what we're spending. We know what the bills are. We know what we have to pay. We're more of, we don't really spend money if it's over a few dollars. You know, like I can go get a soda or something like that. And that's not a big deal. She does the same kind of thing. But if it's over $20, we pretty much both have to say, yes, we need that, or we're both going to do that, or the money doesn't get spent. And there's that agreement. But we're very honest with each other, and I don't go spend money that she doesn't know about. She doesn't go shopping, and we're very on the same page, so it works. And I don't know if it's the same subject, but to me it's very important that I know a lot of couples that have fights over my money and your money.
Yeah.
And for us, it's ours. And the day we got married, it was our money. And it wasn't, I don't care if I'm the only one working, half of it's hers. She gets to make the same decisions I do. Yeah. Because we're in this together, and it's not a me versus you. Because and I know several couples who have actually split up over that. As he has his money, she has her money, and they never really combined their lives, and it's just it never worked.
Because it I don't know. I've seen the same thing, because what ends up happening is that you just end up living in the same house but not sharing.
Yeah.
You're not sharing your lives with one another, which is, I mean, people do that, but it's not. I think there's something a lot better than that. I think there is a thing that I call marriage that is a lot more.
We don't do that.
A lot more important. a lot more important. A lot more. A lot better comes out of it than just like you said, like we said, it where you're just living in the same place, roommates or whatever whatever you want to call it at that point. Yeah. Yeah.
I also think that it is very important, back on the whole thing about, if you want, everybody wants to buy stuff. So you do need in your budget, even if it's only a little amount each month, have a spot your spending money,
Play
her
money.
spending the play money.
Yeah.
It's just little bit amounts. Even if it's it doesn't matter how much money you're making. There's usually leftover, so you can just say, you know what, $25, $20, or if it's that little, or if there's a little more, you can do that. But as long as you just say you've got this much, you can save it up for a few months, and then you can go get what you want, and that way it's a little better.
Right.
But I do think that in the budget there should be a spot for that, because if it's just all going to bills all the time, always paying for the diapers, buying the kids clothes, buying the kids the toys, and then the house needs work, the vehicles need stuff, and you never get to get yourself something, that can put, how would you say, like a strain, or it just kind of wears on you, because we are people that want things.
It's what am I getting out of this?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Especially because when I was digging out of that big debt hole I was in, everything was going toward that, and it was like I would bust my butt all day, all week, all month, and I never saw anything.
Yeah.
I go home and sit and watch my 3 channels on TV because I got nothing.
Yeah.
It's even like you say, it was $20 a week,
right?
$20 a month. It's you have a goal, because it's like all I need is 4 months, and I can get me this that I want. And then there's something to strive for, not just the routine.
I mean, you're working at the factory, but you're working for MasterCard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones that really get the money. Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, and along those same lines, my wife and I are actually working or doing a little experiment here recently, because we put in that we call it our blow money down there at the that little $20 or the $25 that we each get. But one of the things that I noticed is, hey, you know what I usually do with my blow money is I spend it on the kids.
That's what I do.
or we go out to dinner, or we do something like that. So we're doing a little bit of an experiment, and we actually shrunk the restaurant and the grocery bill a little bit more, and our blow money is quite substantial now. And you know what? At least this last time that we actually did that, it's been quite liberating. I feel a lot more in control of the money, even though, okay, with our budget, the money just goes. I mean, it's set. It doesn't change. But suddenly, whenever I feel like I have a little bit of control over
bigger portion of the pie,
over a pretty substantial portion of the pie, you know what? We're not suffering because we don't get to go out to eat. We're still getting to go out to eat. Either I'll pay, hey, honey, I want to treat us out to dinner, or something like that. Really, felt like I just didn't want to cook today. Yes. But you know what? It leaves a lot more flexibility in our budget and in our household. And we might find out that was a mistake, and I'm gonna go and blow all my money on some gadget someplace. But I do think it's important that we have the ability of being a steward, controlling the money that we've worked for, that we've earned, and that we've been entrusted with as far as the family's concerned. I think it's important that we take the responsibility and follow the budget. Number one, I mean, it's so easy to.
It's like, oh, that's not due till the 16th.
Yeah.
Well, finances are like 90% behavior.
It is.
I mean, if you have the money and you tell it where to go, it's amazing. Because if you said, like, if you actually do set it out, these are all the bills, this is how much I make, this is what's left over, and I never have that much money left over. Where does it go? Well, if you start looking at what you blow it on, you go out to eat, and you go out here and you bought this and you bought that, and it just evaporates. And you never have any money left over. And if you just behave and get, this is what's going to happen, you feel like you got a raise. It's amazing.
Well, it looks like our time is up. Thanks for watching today's show. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, please email us. You can find all our information at the end of the credits.